Yeah, Justin, it's just been so long. What's it like finally in the postseason? You finally get back there after the way last year went. Is it a little extra adrenaline, a little extra excitement? What's going on in your head?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. We've waited a long time for this. We're back in the postseason. We're back here at the SEC tournament, and we're excited for it. We're ready for it, and ready to play tomorrow.
Are you, I guess, proud, whatever the word is, the team? Just you had so many injuries, lose Max and Gunner for the year. What Tim's been through to be 18-12 in the SEC in good shape to host. I mean, what's this sort of mean about the character and kind of the will of this team right now?
Yeah, we faced a lot of adversity this year, but every time a player went down, someone picked them up, and that's just what we've done this year. We've been able to handle it and just keep moving on and keep getting wins.
Nick?
Justin, for your season at large, I mean, today having all SEC honors, you've moved positions 2 or 3 times this year. Just how do you evaluate what you've been able to achieve this year with all the uncertainty around what you had to do?
We've had a good team, and just being able to play wherever coach puts me, and just trying to do my best every time I go out there.
How comfortable do you feel at third base at this point? Is it feeling 100% natural, or are you still kind of learning as you go?
No, I've played the infield my whole life, and it's just a ground ball, and that's what I do. Just go out there and play, and try to make the play. So,
Any more questions for Justin? All right, JB, you're all good. Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Take questions for Kevin. Chris.
Kevin, what does it mean to have Doug back in the lineup at the DH spot for not only you, but the entire team?
Tim?
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge, you know. I mean, he was on a crazy tear there when he went down, and he's been able to keep it up for the most part since he's come back, and that's just another bat in our lineup that makes our offense even more dangerous. And, you know, brings a lot of energy to the guys, too, seeing him come up. I think every time he comes up, everyone's on the top rail waiting for him to do something cool.
Parrish.
Kevin, what do you remember about the Auburn series?
Yeah, back. Gunner. That was a good competitive series. And even that third game got interesting there at the end. But, yeah, we were playing well, a good way to start off SEC play, and looking forward to playing them again. It should be a fun game.
Chase.
Yeah, Kevin. I mean, obviously Jacob and TJ have had huge years. You played a lot as a freshman. What's the difficulty to that transition? What's been so good about the way they've been able to handle things as the season's moved along?
Those are 2 of the most confident players I've ever seen. Just watching them walk around the field, they're never once worried about failing or have that in their mind. I think that's what part of makes them so good is they know that they're good, and they're just trying to do anything to help us win.
Any more questions for Kevin? Parrish.
Hey, Kevin, we hear so much about the park at Hoover Med. What's it like to hit there? You've been there a couple of times.
Yeah, it's big and there's a lot of space out there, but during the day especially, the ball kind of flies out of there. Wind's usually blowing out, and it plays a lot smaller than it really is. But it's a fun place to hit.
Is it a place you like to play when the ball moves like that?
Yeah. You always feel good when the ball's flying. You don't have to get all of it to get it out of there. So, yeah, good place to step in the box.
Any more questions for Kevin? All right. Thanks, Kevin.
How's it going?
Take questions for Coach. Chase.
Hey, Mike, who are you starting tomorrow? Just any idea there yet?
Say it again.
Starting pitcher tomorrow. What are you thinking?
Doug Nikhazy. Thought that, yeah. We released that to Sims a few hours ago. I thought he was going to hand it to the reporter that he felt the most was the MVP, player of the year reporter, but he didn't. Sorry.
Parrish.
Mike, could you talk a little bit about, your decision to start Doug? Obviously, days are different. Some guys choose to start somebody different in the tournament, all those different angles. I mean, why was this a good move for you?
Well, one, you got to make sure that, who's capable of pitching, as far as, physically. And so that's one of the reasons that we wait so long, is to make sure that Doug feels he can do it and feels good. And, he bounced back, from Thursday's night start. And, we talked on Friday, at the game to make sure that, that was the mindset if he could do it. And he felt capable of doing it. And each day, he's felt really good. And knowing that he's available, to me, doesn't make a ton of sense not to throw him when if you lose, you go home. You might as well throw your ace. And we've almost always done that here on day one, especially in the elimination game, if the guy's able to throw. Sometimes guys, don't bounce back as fast, and some guys, have some lingering things. But once he, was able to throw, it's different on Wednesday, when you have two games, you got to lose twice. But on Tuesday, where, you win, you stay here, you lose, you go home. You want to shoot your best bullet if you can.
What are your thoughts on Derek and Drew and their starts, what they've gotten done since Gunner's been out?
Wow. It just depends. I think there's starts and outings where they've been okay. And I think there's, some starts that they probably would want back throughout the year, not just since Gunner, has gotten injured. I thought really probably an unfair line for Diamond on Friday, where I thought he pitched really well after maybe a little shaky start. I think he kind of found his groove on Friday, and should have probably came out in the sixth inning. We don't, it was a really tough play for John Rice on that ball, but we don't make that play in right field. He comes out of the game, that run scores. And then, of course, we come back. But, I thought he pitched well. Drew just didn't look comfortable out there on Saturday, where he just didn't command any of his pitches, which is really unlike him. Usually, his command's really good. And so, that I thought was the difference in that start.
Will it be Derek and then Drew in the games to follow?
Don't know. Kind of got to play it by ear, not trying to keep it close to the vest. Kind of how we did with Doug. We'll just have to, see how they each feel each day.
Nick?
Mike, for the last month now, it's really been a lot of testing and mixing and matching in the bullpen. Just compared to where you were a month ago, how confident do you feel, or how much more confident do you feel in the state of your bullpen?
Well, you're right. It's kind of changed a little bit, but I think, when you look at the guys that I think that have pitched the best, you're looking at Jack Doherty, you're looking at Brandon Johnson, you're looking at Jackson Kimbrell, and then the other guys have had days here and have had moments. And, of late, some of them had, some tough outings like Miller. But right before the last, couple tough outings that he's had, he had a bad week, right? He had the grand slam against Vandy. Then he had the tough night on Tuesday night. And then, the home run, last weekend. But before that, I think he had 3 outings. The Texas A&M outing was outstanding. And he had, 2 or 3 outings in a row where he was pretty good. This is the time of the year where sometimes you can find it here, at Hoover. If you're here for a few days and get a couple good outings, if you remember a few years ago, Caracci was really searching and came here and, got really hot. And in this park, regardless of what Kev says, is a little more pitcher friendly than it is hitter friendly. It's not a graveyard anymore. They moved the fences in a little bit, and he's right. When it's warm and if the wind's blowing out, it can play smaller. But it's obviously a park that I think is more pitcher friendly than hitter friendly.
Chase?
This might be a dumb question, Mike, because obviously you want to win and keep improving your resume, but is it important to just keep playing and avoid a little more of a long layoff? I mean, if you get eliminated early in this thing over the years, do you enter squad or anything over the weekend? Do you do anything to just kind of stay in rhythm or whatever?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll enter squad at some point, if we exit early, and a lot of that just depends. And really, Chase, I think those are things that, in that postseason, interviews, I've watched, I remember Ray Tanner years ago, they got eliminated like in the first game, went back home, inter-squadded, and went on to win a national championship. championship. And I remember him, talking about, one, they needed a wake up call, and two is maybe they needed a little bit of a rest. And so I think a lot just depends. If you don't play well the next week, people blame it on that you were in Hoover too long, or you weren't playing well enough at the end. So I think it's a mixed bag, but it's just such a neat event. I know everybody wants to come here and perform and play well. It's a grind, it's tough playing on Tuesday, but it's a grind to get to Sunday. But we've been pretty successful the last few years of being able to get to the weekend, and hopefully this club's got enough in it to do that.
I know that a lot of times you don't know what freshmen are going to do in the spring when they get here in the fall, but Jacob's kind of hit from day one, hadn't he? I mean, when he showed up, he just kind of never had that transition we see from first year guys sometimes.
No, you're right. I mean, day one, talking back in September, day one, and I don't know if that's necessarily a surprise. He was one of the highly touted kids coming in, and a kid that we thought, maybe more of a surprise that he would play just about every inning at shortstop. And he's deserved it, but I think we thought he could hit. But you're right, TJ as well, and you can lump a lot of guys in there. And guys in their first year, it's tough. It's tough on freshmen in this league. Some of them will get off to good starts, but it's tough to maintain in this league where you see so much outstanding pitching.
Parrish.
Mike, I didn't think about this till you just mentioned it, but didn't have this tournament last year. Just generally speaking, the guys that have been here before, they're pretty excited about being back. I mean, what's the feeling like just to be back in Hoover?
I think that, obviously there's a lot of guys on the team that, were here in 19 that made it to the championship game, and even a couple sprinkled in that were here in 18 that won the championship. And so it's probably a mixture of some guys, the freshmen and the COVID freshmen, the second year guys. But I heard one of the coaches, mention in our locker room that he heard one of the not former players, one of the veteran players, telling them how neat of an event it is. Wait till you get there, and talking about the hotel and the food court and how everything goes and the police escorts and all of that. This is a really, really neat event, and I know everybody's excited to be here.
Any more questions for Coach? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.